Hello, and welcome to this special audio summary of The Lean Startup by Eric Ries. It's a tribute to a great work. Whether you're an aspiring entrepreneur, a business owner, or just someone curious about how great companies are built, this book has something valuable to offer. In today's fast-paced world, traditional business models often fail because they rely too heavily on assumptions. The Lean Startup flips that approach on its head, teaching us how to build businesses smarter, faster, and with less risk. So grab a cup of coffee, sit back, and let's dive into the key ideas from this groundbreaking book. Let's start with a question: why do so many startups fail? Well, here's the truth. Most businesses spend months, or even years, developing a product before launching it. They assume they know what customers want, but when the product finally hits the market, it often misses the mark. Why? Because customer needs change, markets evolve, and assumptions don't always hold up. Eric Ries calls this the waste of time and resources problem. To solve it, he introduces the concept of the Lean Startup, which focuses on learning quickly, adapting to feedback, and staying flexible. At the heart of the Lean Startup is a simple yet powerful process called the Build, Measure, Learn loop. Here's how it works. First, build. Start by creating a minimum viable product, or MVP. This is a basic version of your product with just enough features to test your idea. For example, if you're building a food delivery app, your MVP might be a simple website where customers can order food from one restaurant. Next, measure. Release the MVP to a small group of customers and collect data. Are they interested? What problems do they face? Tools like surveys, usage stats, and direct feedback can help you measure their reactions. Finally, learn. Analyze the feedback and decide whether to pivot or change direction, or persevere and keep going. This cycle repeats continuously, allowing businesses to adapt and improve over time. Think of it like steering a ship. You make small adjustments along the way instead of waiting until you've sailed off course. One of the most important concepts in the Lean Startup is the MVP, or minimum viable product. Instead of spending months perfecting a product, startups should release a simplified version as quickly as possible. Why? Because the goal of an MVP isn't to make money. It's to gather feedback and validate assumptions. For example, Dropbox started with a simple video demonstrating how their file sharing service would work, rather than building the entire platform up front. Airbnb began by renting out air mattresses in the founder's apartment to test demand for short-term rentals. By starting small, businesses avoid wasting resources on features that customers don't care about. They also get early adopters who provide valuable insights. Ries argues that startups should focus on validated learning, testing hypotheses through experiments, and using real-world data to guide decisions. For instance, if you think customers will pay $50 for your product, offer it at that price to see if anyone buys it. If no one buys it, lower the price or add more value until you find the sweet spot. Validated learning ensures that every decision is based on evidence, not guesswork. It's like running a science experiment, except the lab is the real world and your customers are the participants. Not all ideas succeed, and that's okay. One of the biggest strengths of the Lean Startup methodology is knowing when to pivot, to change your product or strategy without abandoning the core vision. There are several types of pivots. Zoom in pivot. Focus on one feature of your product. For example, Instagram started as a location-based app called Burbean, but pivoted to focus solely on photo sharing. Customer segment pivot. Target a different group of customers. For example, Slack was originally created as a gaming tool, but pivoted to become a workplace communication platform. Platform pivot. Switch from a single product to a broader ecosystem. For example, Amazon started as an online bookstore, but expanded into e-commerce and cloud computing. If a pivot doesn't work, it's better to fail fast and move on than to waste time and money chasing a bad idea. Traditional accounting measures. Things like revenue and profit, which aren't always useful for startups. Instead, Ries suggests using innovation accounting to track progress in uncertain environments. This involves setting clear milestones and using metrics like customer acquisition, cost, CAC, how much it costs to acquire a new customer, lifetime value, LTV, how much revenue a customer generates over time, engagement, how actively customers use your product. These metrics help startups understand whether they're moving in the right direction, even if they're not yet profitable. Another key principle of the lean startup is continuous deployment, releasing updates frequently to keep improving the product. Instead of waiting for perfection, businesses should ship early versions of their product and refine them based on user feedback. For example, Facebook releases new features constantly, gathering feedback from millions of users to improve its platform. Tesla updates its car's software remotely, adding new capabilities without requiring physical upgrades. Continuous deployment keeps businesses agile and responsive to customer needs. Many startups fall into the trap of focusing on vanity metrics, numbers that look impressive but don't reflect real progress. Examples include total downloads of an app, number of registered users, social media likes. Instead, businesses should focus on actionable metrics that show whether customers are truly engaged, such as retention rate. How many users return to your product after their first visit? Conversion rate. What percentage of visitors take a desired action, like making a purchase? Referral rate. How many customers recommend your product to others? Actionable metrics help businesses make smarter decisions and grow sustainably. While the lean startup was written for entrepreneurs, its principles apply to any organization, including large corporations and nonprofits. By adopting a lean mindset, established companies can innovate faster and stay competitive. For example, GE used lean startup methods to develop new products in its healthcare division. Government agencies have applied lean startup techniques to improve public services. The key is to embrace experimentation, empower teams to act autonomously, and prioritize customer feedback. At its heart, the lean startup is about reducing risk and increasing the chances of success. By focusing on rapid iteration, validated learning, and customer-centric design, businesses can navigate uncertainty and thrive in today's fast-changing world. Rise reminds us that entrepreneurship isn't about predicting the future. It's about testing, learning, and adapting. Success comes not from having all the answers up front, but from being willing to experiment and evolve. So there you have it, a concise guide to the lean startup by Eric Ries. To recap, start small with an MVP to test your idea before investing. Heavily use the build, measure, learn loop to iterate quickly and improve your product. Collect actionable metrics to measure real progress, not vanity metrics. Be ready to pivot if your initial idea doesn't work. Focus on customer feedback to guide your decisions. By following these principles, anyone can increase their chances of building a successful business, regardless of industry or experience level. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the lean startup. I hope you found it insightful and inspiring. Until next time, happy learning and happy building.